All right, here we are, another week around the trash fire. Your host Mathias, along with the boy.
John.
Well, John, there's a lot of stuff that happened this week. Past 2 weeks, actually. I mean, we did miss 1 week. We got SpaceMarine 2 trailer with an actual release date.
Yep.
We got the Black Library preview. Got some old world rules coming out. Warhammer did their event, so we got to see all the stuff they're teasing. And of course, many other things. But year's almost up, John. Finally, almost in 2024.
Indeed. New Year, new army.
New year, new army. Which John's gonna do, not me. I ain't doing that. But let's start into it. So, I believe the 9th this game was released. Rogue Trader is finally hit stores. Have you played any?
I have not, for a couple of reasons. The first one is I'm really getting into MechWarrior 5 to the BattleTech hype, so don't have time to get the game.
No
So I'll
vid-
just wait until it's on sale. Also, it's really combat heavy, which I am more so than other RPGs of its kind, which I'm not against, but it definitely doesn't make me want to drop everything and play this because I much prefer the RPG aspect, which is the world building, which is what excites me about this game, not necessarily the combat. So again, like I'm still excited for it. I'm just not hyped to get it ASAP because I'm playing other games and all that. So
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in the co-op aspect of the game. I thought it would be, going off the hype that is the game of the year, Baldur's Gate 3. I thought we'd be able to create our own characters and kind of thing. But yeah, you get your one character, and then your friend just controls another character. They don't even get to create a character or anything like that. So a little disappointing to see that. That was the part I was looking forward to most, was the co-op aspect.
I see. That's fair.
But I'm sure I'll have fun. I'll probably play it tomorrow. I have yet to sit down and actually enjoy the game. I've been busy with some other projects, but such as Warhammer Darktide, playing that update, and the update's okay. I thought it'd be a little more interesting, but it's whatever. It's nice to have new content, I'll say that, but expected a little more in the grand scheme of things for the Darktide update that they're doing right now. But I'll be playing this live tomorrow, probably when this video goes up. So be there or be square. But speaking of the Game Awards, John, Space Marine 2.
Space Marine 2.
Space Marine 2 was shown at the Game Awards. And, the trailer is something we've seen 1,000 times at this point. Tide is just killing Tyranids over and over again. But this time, we got something. We got a release date. September 9th, 2024. And I must say, I am so disappointed.
Yeah, it's a whiles off. A really whiles off. I wonder what the reasonings are. I hope they're actually polishing the game and not like the equivalent of reshoots.
Yeah, I know, right? When they said they were polishing the game, I didn't realize it was going to be basically a whole year before I get to play the game. But that is where we're at right now with the SpaceMarine 2, a whole another year out, which is fine, I guess. I don't really know any Warhammer games that right now. Well, I mean, besides Rogue Trader, that are coming out.
Yeah, all the stuff has already come out. Rogue Trader, Realms of Ruin, all that stuff.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But definitive September 9th. So remember, call off work that day because we're going to be purging all the bugs, all the Xeno scum off whatever planet we're on this time. September 9th, that is a Monday. So be prepared. But enough video games. It's time to talk some models. And where else do we start but this Sunday preview? So, Kill Team coming out. If you wanted to buy the new Scorpions and the new Scouts, you can finally do that. Do we have a price for this yet?
Yes, it is $130.
Okay, well, not bad. I was hoping a little cheaper, but
Yeah, it is kind of pricey. I think so. Yeah, it's $10 more than buying the two teams separately. So you're paying $10 for all the accessories, which are those terrain pieces, the rules, and the data cards or whatever. Yeah, so if you're here, if that it's interests you, it's worth taking, especially those data cards. But if you just want the models, then maybe wait until they're out on their own.
wait till they're sold separately.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably for the best. Unless you really want those models now.
Yeah.
There you go. That's coming out. You can get the Killzone Beta Decima set. I know someone who really wants this, but just not a fan of this terrain. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
it is interesting for sure.
We got that. We got the Underworld's Orc team, Stab Lads. They're coming out. The Malefic Mask Rival Pack, which are just reset cards, I believe, correct? Arts New Powers. New Universal. Okay. Easy to use decks. So that's coming out. Tyranids are finally getting some of their new model range released. So we got the Von Brian Leapers. We got the Tyranid Prime, Psychophage, Neurogons, Screamer Killer, and I'm blanking. That's a Neurothrope, right? I believe. Yeah, the Neurotyrant. Sorry, Neurotyrant. Oh, I didn't realize he was in this one. We got the Alpha Legion Saboteur Console. Might as well give your thoughts on this one. How do you feel about it, John?
It's cool. If you play Alpha Legion, that's a cool model. You could use him as a Praetor or as a Centurion. But yeah, he represents the Legion specific console, which is only available. Well, the Saboteur console, which is only available to Alpha Legion. Yeah, it's a great model. Again, if you're an Alpha Legion fan, this is kind of a 10 out of 10.
Got the cape. He's got everything. Aesthetically easy. Would you buy him if you were an Alpha Legion player?
Oh, easily. Yep. Absolutely. Easy pickup if you're an Alpha Legion player, I think.
Now the question is he Forge World or is he plastic?
Oh, they're all Forge World. I don't think they're making any of these plastic, which kind of makes sense because it's a very specific model for a niche game in the already niche Warhammer hobby. So I can see why they didn't make this plastic. It just wouldn't be cost efficient, I think. I mean, it sucks because obviously plastic is better, but I understand. There's some things where I don't get why they're resin, like Fulgrim, but stuff like this makes sense that he's resin, and all the other Legion specific consoles.
Well, it's the Forge World plastic that turns me off from these models. As cool as they are, but I ain't dealing with that Forge World stuff.
Yeah.
We got that. We got my good old T-Sun Sorcerer, which I really want to buy, but again, Forge World plastic. Don't want to deal with that. Necromunda, we're finally getting the police buggy. That's coming out. Blood Bowl, I don't care, but made to order old models here if you want to buy some Dark Elf cheerleaders or Core Knight, whatever those are, and so on. Old models from a old era. Black Library, we got the Lion softcover. Pilgrims of Fire softcover. Some different languages books. Blah. Brutal and Cunning Special Edition book. And Warhammer Plus, we're gonna get the Kill Team, Lore Masters of not Inquisitors, the Rogue Traders, I guess. Doesn't really say. And then looks like there's gonna be a Kill Team balance datasheet also being presented. Warhammer Plus that they're gonna be doing for Kill Team. So that's that. Jam-packed stuff. Melee, a big W for the Tyranids if you wanted to buy those models. You didn't want to spend the $200 on the 2-player box set of Leviathan. Everything else, if you want to, grab it. Otherwise, I'm content waiting, especially on the Scorpion aspect. I do want the new Scorpions, even though I already have 30. But I could always use 40. Not in a legal game. Otherwise. Anyways, moving on. Heresy Thursday. We got the Horus Heresy Sons of Horus Librarian, I guess. Is that safe to say about this character?
No, actually, he is not a psyker. This is the Dark Emissary, which is interesting because this is only takeable in allied detachments of Sons of Horus. You actually can't take this in a Sons of Horus army, if I'm not mistaken. But essentially, he buffs your allied detachment, and he's super cool. And if you play Sons of Horus, it's another cool character model you could use as a Praetor or something, or a Librarian if you like. I could totally see this guy be a Librarian, and people wouldn't mind. Especially if you convert the staff to make it more of a psychic staff and not like a kind of radio piece. But no, it's super cool. And if this is new scale, I think they're all new scale. So I could, if I play Sons of Horus, which I do in Epic, but not in 30k, I could see him. Well, I play a Trader Legion. Maybe I'll pick this guy up for an allied attachment, but regardless, he's a super cool model. And if I played Sons of Horus as my main army, I would probably pick this guy up and convert him as a Praetor. Easy swap on the arm, give him a sword, be good to go. 10 out of 10 model. 9 out of 10 because he's resin. Would make it 10 if he's plastic.
One day, they'll learn the error of their way, and it will go to plastic.
Yes.
I mean, they're slowly going there. Just just need that extra push to get into the plastic vat. Yeah. It's a very cool model, as all these character models usually are. Very aesthetic. I love the chain skull that he's holding right there in his hand. The backpack adorned with all the skulls. It has a lot of character to it, and that's what I like about this model. It's not just a generic SpaceMarine, which is nice. A good job, the Forge World, and just make it plastic, and it'll be a masterpiece to some people. But that is that. We would have talked about the Alpha Legion guy, but we did that in the Sunday preview. So, Black Library had its preview. Did you watch any of this?
I did not, although I was dreading this preview because I'm like, I freaking swear if they announce End of the Death Part 4, I would be very mad.
Well, let's see what they did announce, shall we? So we got
Painful.
Marnval, Spear of Faith. That's coming out. It's gone. All these are gonna have special editions and all this other gimmicky stuff. I'm not gonna go into it because I didn't watch it either. I didn't really care. I kind of just looked into this article, and there's only one thing that stuck out to me. But we'll go over everything here. We got the Art of the Horus Heresy. I feel like that's a book you're gonna pick up.
Oh yeah, this is an instant. I'm gonna wait to like 10 a.m. and pre-order this immediately. I want this so bad, actually. Because at the end of the day, the art of the heresy is what really pulled me into it. I mean, obviously the books are great, but the covers of the books and just looking at those images, the full art version online, they were just like so inspiring to me playing the game. So yeah, this is an instant purchase.
I might pick it up if there's any left in stock. Just because it'd be nice to have. Get that. Little bookmark if you want that. It goes to Barack Minaz. Balloon dwarves, and we all know how I feel about balloon dwarves, so I don't really care. Now the book that caught my eye, Ahriman the Undying. And yeah, I think I'm gonna pick this book up because I do enjoy the Ahriman books. I do have the omnibus right now, and I'm just saying that this art on this book, very nice. I love this book. This design on the book. So I'll probably pick this up just to own, just to have, and then read it. So I'm very excited to see that coming out. And then we got Lazarus, Dementi's Edge. So some Dark Angel books here. Renegades, Lords of Excess. We got a Emperor's Children book here. It'll be interesting to see. We don't really know anything. There's not really any main characters in Emperor's Children besides Lucius and Fulgrim, right?
What do you mean?
In terms of the 40k setting, right?
Eidolon's alive, that I know, but that's kind of it.
So there, we got the Harrow Master, a whole new character being introduced to this story, huh? So it'll be interesting to see, maybe.
No, it's Horror Master is a different book. The character is just some random Emperor Children warlord here.
Whatever.
I mean, it's kind of cool. Like they'll have like a new character that they could explore. Hopefully, it's good. I mean, I'm not gonna pick it up. I kind of don't care about Emperor Children, but it's cool to explore some new characters and kind of help give that inspiration to for your own army and all that. Your dudes kind of thing.
Well, I feel like Emperor's Children kind of in the 40K setting. I feel like they lack characters. I mean,
they got Lucius and
they got Lucius, they got Fulgrim. Like, to the normie people who don't read the books, and I fall in that category. Those are the only two Emperor's Children people I know.
right, but I think, it makes sense, right? It's a legion,
Well, it's a legion that doesn't get much, love on the
Black
tabletop.
Legion has I guess there's two. I guess they have the new dude.
I guess there's Fabius Vile, huh? He's Emperor's Children, right?
No, he's split off from the Legion. He was Emperor's Children, but he's his own man. But world leaders have Karn and Angron. If you don't count Primarchs, right? World leaders have Karn.
Yeah. Thousand Suns have Ahriman.
Have Ahriman. That's it, And I'm kind of fine with that. I thought about it actually when I was talking to people about 40K characters and Horus Heresy characters, and how many special characters do you need per legion? And for Horus Heresy, where that's all you have, you want more characters like Eidolon, Saltarvitz, Lucius. But I think for 40K, I think sticking with just a few, again, even just one regular Marine character, I think that's fine, because at the end of the day, a legion isn't a big focus when it comes to the 40K setting as a whole. And by legion, a specific legion. Again, even Black Legion, Abaddon's the real character. I forgot the other name. That one Raptor guy. I forget his name. And I play Black Legion, but
Archon?
yeah,
no.
Yeah, Harkon, World Claimer. Yeah, I don't think his inclusion enhances the Legion. So, yeah, and if you look at Chaos Space Marines, all those characters are Chaos Space Marine characters. It's we don't really need a character for each craft world, right?
True.
Or each tomb world. So, and yeah, again, I think that's okay. I think I wouldn't mind if they just kept it like that, and maybe add Eidolon. Maybe for world leaders, I don't even know who would they add, but for Thousand Suns, even I don't know who would. I can't think of a flavorful character from the Heresy that survive. All the ones that come to mind die. So besides Ahriman,
Yeah, I guess you're right. It doesn't really matter if you don't, because special characters aren't really the mainstay, even in the tabletop game. I just think it just brings out the characters. Build your world and your I guess army out.
Again, I think they're neat, right? And looking at a legion, they're part of the bigger Chaos Space Marine kind of quote unquote faction. So if it was only Emperor's Children and no other legions, they should have just more than Fulgrim and Lucius and Eidolon, I guess. But in the context of Chaos Space Marines, I think they're okay. I think they're good on the character front. And Fabius Vile also has that tie to Emperor's Children, so there's
True.
that. Yeah.
All right.
What we need is more focus, if anything, on the minor legion characters. For Night Lords, Decimus would be cool to explore. Hansu, he's kicking around. That would be the Iron Warrior guy. There's the Alpha Legion, maybe them getting a model in 40K. That would be neat. Same for forward. Erebus is there, right? And Marduk is a thing, but not in the game. So maybe those, if there's anyone who needs characters that need exploration more in 40K, it would be the non-godline legions. Would be kind of cool to see.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, especially with the new Night Lord team coming out right now. I know there's that one trilogy out there.
Yeah, that's also a really famous trilogy. So
I'll have to pick it up. But let's get to the end of this article here. So we got that. The Infinite and Divine Special Edition. I still stand by. Very good book. I wouldn't want to have this in my Wouldn't want to have this on my shelf, to be honest. This looks ugly.
Yeah, fair.
But special edition book there. I mean the book, the pages, that nice cosmic purple, that looks nice. But the book cover, yeah, that looks ugly. That's coming out. Eidolon, the Warwick Hammer. This is what's this guy? This is the guy from Horus Heresy, right?
Yes, Eidolon. Yep, he is a Emperor Children guy. He's an actual kind of leader of the Emperor Children in the way that Lucius is just kind of a duelist, just wants to 1v1 people. So, yeah, I'm glad that he's getting more attention. And from what I know, unless something changed in the past few years, he is in 40k. He is kicking. And it'll be cool to see him in 40k. I wonder if this book kind of solidifies what he's doing in 40k besides he's out there, you know.
They're always out there, John. They're always just
right.
roaming.
It would be cool to see if he has some kind of plot thing he's trying to do besides, again, just being out there, because yes, they are just out there.
Oh, we'll have to wait and see. Would this be a book you're gonna buy?
I don't think so. I don't know the author. If it's Jonathan Keeble narrating it, I'll pick it up because he makes everything sound cool. But I'd rather read the Primarch books that I have purchased for Audible.
Mark Collins.
But this is interesting, like, again, Adlon's an interesting character, so, to me. And he has a model, which makes it even cooler.
Yeah, for what little Horus Heresy that I read, Eidolon was pretty badass in those books.
Mm-hmm.
Got that. They got the Dead Kingdom with a vampire and Neferati in the background there. I believe this is the second novel in the series. I can't get into the AOS books. They're hard for me to get into. So unfortunately, AOS is always a pass. I tried. I got a couple of the AOS books, and it was a slog to get through. So I don't know what, I can't put my finger on exactly why I dislike it, but I think it's just the fantasy versus the sci-fi. I think that's what I'm more of a sci-fi guy than a fantasy guy. And I think that's why it doesn't resonate with me too well. But enjoyers of this series, you get your second book coming out.
I kind of want to check out the full book, but we'll see.
You get the Hollow King, the first book right here, special edition. And then
here's the model, which again is cool.
And then there's the model of Tuck, Blackhawk, and Big Daka, which is their Black Library model that they're releasing this time. So not a SpaceMarine, not an Inquisitor. This time we're getting an Orc.
Yep, that's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah, when I first saw this model, I thought this was the Orc from Blackreach. Without any context, I was like, oh, they're re-releasing the model, and then I saw it was Black Library. I'm like, oh, okay, different. But yeah, we got an Orc with a Thunderhammer, a support squig, and a cape. Don't see many capes on Orcs. So overall, it's a good looking model, as majority of Black Library models are. So good on you, GW. Very well put together model. Ooh, spent a lot of time on the books. I didn't think we were going to spend that much time on that section, but it's time to move on to this was last week's model, new model Monday, and we got Necromunda with a squat with a mining laser. Uh, yeah, no thoughts.
No thoughts.
It's a squat with a mining laser,
Cool.
and yeah, that's all I can say. I don't care for the squats. Never did. I was happy when they got eaten by the Tyranids, but here we are. They're back. And for this week's New Model Monday, we got another thing I don't care about. We got Blood Bowl. We got a sneaky rat boy. So, for you Blood Bowl fans out there, here you are. You get another model ready to be added to your game. And that's all New Model Monday. Other thing we got going, as I mentioned earlier in this stream, we got the Advent calendar. And I must say, I hate this reef that they put around the model or the image because it blocks some of the image. Case in point,
Yeah.
if you look at this sword scabber, whatever, it's blocking the hilt and everything. Like, so taking a look at this, you probably wouldn't even know what it is at first. But if you scroll down, obviously you can see what more it is. It's this one right here. Some sword with a skull on the hilt. And I figured, why not take some guesses, John? You want to take some guesses with me?
They're so generic. I was talking to this with a buddy, and I'm like, we're trying to figure out what this was, and like 95% of them are incredibly generic. So I can't even tell you. Like the sword scabbard, like that could be a Chaos Warrior. It could be a Cities of Sigmar guy. It could be a vampire. It could be an Inquisitor. It could be a freaking Space Marine. Like I have no idea. It's so generic. The
Yeah,
only thing that's unique is the book has the Nurgle logo and looks like a Skaven hand, I think. I don't even no, it's not. It's just a Nurgle book. That's it. Not even a Skaven hand. It's some dude with the Nurgle circles. Yeah, that I really can't tell you.
yeah, that's definitely some Poxwalker, some Pox character,
Yeah.
because I can see that little cut in its arm there. Yeah, that's like a Nurgle. That's a Poxwalker or something character. All right, well, suck the fun out of that one, John.
I can't tell you. Like the first one says minefield, so it's 40k, and then there's the sword, and it's like I don't know what this is. Then you have this branch thing, like I is it a Sylvan thing? I don't know. Maybe it's an Urgle tree. Who knows, right? Like
Yeah,
yeah, it's just I mean, I'm just biased. I kind of hate the rumor mill because it really doesn't again, it's like what I'm saying right now actually. It's like it doesn't tell you much. Like it's telling you that something's coming out, and we're so inundated. I get starting to a rant now. Like we're so inundated with Warhammer releases that these aren't special anymore in that sense. Again, to me, like for Legion or Shatterpoint, if they announce something like this, I would be like, "Ooh, what's the new thing coming out?" Right? But for 40k and AOS, where it's this is the standard now, it's like I'm just gonna wait until they reveal the model because it could really. And again, it's generic enough, right? Like if it was like an Emperor's Children sculpted shoulder pad, right, with some 40k Chaos Space Marine style trim, I would be like, ooh, or if it's like a Dark Elf type helmet that has that, like when we talk about models, how they have unique features, sorry, design features and artistic aesthetic features to them that kind of make them identifiable.
of
Like if they
course.
showed something like that, that would be cool. But the stuff they show is just so generic that again, it doesn't tell me what it is realistically. Rant over for now.
Rant over. Well, I mean, I would agree with you. I mean, I take a look at all this stuff and clearly not gonna be able to find much to know anything about unless you did some serious digging into these.
Yeah.
Like the book one, I mean, I assume, like I said, it's gonna be a Nurgle demon character most likely. I see wings. I mean, that could be anything.
Like it could be anything, you know.
I see a bone claw thing. I mean, that could be anything. That could just be a trident. That could be another Deepkin character. You got the lantern with the smoke coming out. I mean, that could be Nidhon, or that could be another.
Dark Angel thing. Like
There's another
right?
SpaceMarine character with a lantern thing, with the smoke coming out. Yeah. So I mean, I get what you mean.
Yeah, that's why I hate these, unfortunately.
Unless you got the scoops to know what the release schedule is going to be like. You know, you can't really predict these things sometimes. But all right, well that's that. The last piece of news we got is Old World. So we missed out on this. So we got Old World Omnac, which I guess they're gonna rename that to. They're talking about magic on the battlefield. So, if I recall, magic is gonna work different than it did in actual what's it called? In actual fantasy.
Yeah, it's a 2d6 system now, casting value. So I think I mentioned that I like that better. It's just easier, no more like, ooh, how many power dice am I throwing and all that. I mean, that was kind of fun to be fair, but I think it was too clunky for Warhammer. I think that kind of system works better in other games.
Get your power dice, and then you gotta add your wizard level.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you just 2d6 and add the skill level, and that's what it is. But if you double one, you miscast. And miscasting, this is something we can talk about. It's less deadly than before. There's no instant death. Like if you double one, it's just a strength 10 AP -4 hit, which is that's pretty gross, right? If your wizard and his unit gets hit with the strength 10 blast, large blast with strength 10 AP4, that sucks. But it's you could roll a 1 and your dudes could live, or you could pass your word save and your dudes could live. Whereas if last edition, you would just die. And then there was a strength 10 hit, but your wizard would just instantly die.
That was the fun part. I like that.
I mean, I prefer this because it's not an instant kill. It just plays into the randomness of magic. Like, again, you're still kind of screwed because you're getting hit with the strength 10 AP -4 large blast on your wizard, right? But, there's a chance of like, oh, am I going to survive with the word save? Like, we'll see. Is he blessed by Nagash? Who knows? Let's find out. And that just like, that's kind of cool still. And it's very likely he'll die, but again, that random small chance that he won't makes it kind of fun to me. And I'll be honest, like, I'm every week that passes, I get more hyped about Old World. I'm actually listening to the final End Times book right now. I just skipped the first 4. I'm like, all right, straight to the End Times, and it's pretty cool, and like it makes me hyped for both Old World and Age of Sigmar, because all these characters, right? They're talking about the end of the world. Like Teclis is like, oh no, like I've failed. Like Arcane's gonna kill everything, and Nagash is like, well, like if there's no world, there's no dead people to raise. But we know there's Age of Sigmar. We know there's a future, and we know these guys like Teclis, Nagash, Archaon, Sigmar, Alariel, they come back, and that's super cool. Like Manfred, he's a little shit in that one, and he comes back every second. That having that kind of future in a different game and setting is, I like that stuff. So, and the Old World was a thing. It was a place, and there's some cool stuff in it. The Total War is there, right? So, yeah. Anyways, continuing to this, you can also dispel, like if you're a dwarf, which is kind of cool. Hooray!
Well, dwarves could always dispel. They had their ruins.
Yeah.
But so that's all coming.
It's interesting because you could miscast on a dispel.
Interesting. That I did not know.
Yeah.
Miscast on a dispel. What does that even mean?
So if you double one, so to dispel, it's kind of like actually in 40k where you cast psychic power, it's 2d6, and to disbind, you roll 2d6. If you beat it, you disbind it. So on that dispel roll, if you roll double ones, you miscast, and you roll on the miscast table to represent, because you also kind of use magic to stop magic, or in the dwarves. I mean, even dwarves, they have that kind of magical thing, or even with Khorne, right? The power of Khorne, they use that to dispel magic, but that's also unstable, and you could get screwed by that. So I like that. That's a kind of a cool feature over there.
Okay, interesting. We all know what's gonna happen. Everyone's gonna be packing that dispel scroll. Classic dispel scroll.
I hope they bring back dispel scrolls. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's coming out. Show a little handmaidens of the lady. They can do. They're on a unicorn. Well, we already know that. And they show off some spells: Stormcall, Glittering Robe, and Hammerhead. All spells I'm not familiar with, but here they're all titled their own separate categories here. So Battle Magic, Illusion, and Elementalism. So we kind of skipped over that part over there where they actually go over what the spell categories are. So enchantment, it's pretty much what you think it is. X, pretty standard, slowing down the enemies, sapping their strength. Magic missile, never changes, basically smite. Magical vortex. It sounds kind of like Purple Sun.
Yeah, vortex spells from back in the day.
Yeah. Assailment. It says strikes foes without warning. I don't know what that exactly entails, but that's all the spell categories right there. So a little more in-depth spell system than previous. But that's what we got for magic, and then we got the Living Saint special rule, which sounds more like a Bretonnian thing.
Yeah, they talk about the Grail Knights, which are in the lore kind of like living saints, because they they do the whole pilgrimage and stuff and become super powerful, just like real world saints. With their blessings of the lady and their maces and all that. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so they give a full unit profile. So they give the Grail Knights, so 38 points a model for 1 wound models, but they have they have heavy armor and barding on their war horses. That could mean a 2-up save or one. I miss 1-up saves actually. I hope they have a 1-up save. I think that was such cool design with an AP system. But anyway, so yeah, they have the Grail Knight unit with their hand weapons, lances, heavy armor. It gives you how many points to add stuff. Just the command thing is back: musician, standard bearers, and the champion, and all the special rules. But one thing I want to point out is it gives you the base size for this unit, which that's new. And I think that's super cool because, in a game where you're going to be using a lot of old models and old armies, having that kind of base system will help a lot, I think.
Well, especially if you want to make your own custom Grail Knights, right? Instead of using the old ones.
You're reusing your old models. You now know what the base size will be.
Yeah, it's a very helpful tool to have there. So we got that. They go over the land special rule: +2 strength, AP2, armor bane, which is basically just piercing. The +1 to the AP, since it's armor bane 1. And they got the blessing of the lady here. Keep my mouse from scrolling up. Grants him a 6+ ward and a 5 against a 5+ against any strength 5 or higher. So not bad. I mean, the ward is kind of whatever, but an extra save is an extra save. So any way to keep your, how many points did you say these things were? 38 points. 38-point models alive is a win no matter what. And then they go over their close orders, the finest war horses, the living saints, rail vals, which they're bringing back for them. That's just nice because that was their whole thing. And then we got some magic weapons here: the dragon slaying sword, the blazing banner, all good stuff. There's next week will be this army selection, so I guess we'll see what's all going down in the army selection area next week. But very cool. Old world slowly coming into existence. I will assume it'll be the big release next year, because I feel like it's done.
It will not, because next year the big release will be Age of Sigmar 3.0.
Is it time for 3.0 already?
Yes, it's gonna be 3 years. Also, they're releasing this in February or early spring.
Really?
Which, yeah, the big release is during the summer, right, or late summer. But they have confirmed this will come out around springtime. So speculation is February. But, they haven't said the month, but they did say this is coming out in spring on their Twitter.
Oh, okay then. I guess that's that.
Which makes, I don't think this would succeed as a Horus Heresy kind of game, because so many things use old models, right? Like Horus Heresy launched with a new model range, right? I mean, yeah, you had old models, but a lot of new kits were came out. But here, there's a lot. I mean, the Grail Knights are using the old models, and I believe these are metal, so they're gonna be either metal or fine cast, and that's terrible for a launch army, which Bretonnians are, right? So yeah, it's gonna be neat. It's gonna be a cool specialist game.
Wait, are Bretonnians metal? They're not metal, are they? I thought they were all plastic.
No, these Real Knights are metal.
Oh. Yeah. Well, maybe they'll make them plastic.
I mean, if I hope so, but the fact that they're showing the old models makes me cautious.
Well, I mean, they don't sell any metal models anymore, right?
So it's probably gonna be fine cast.
God, that's even worse.
Yep.
Forge World cast.
That's worse. Forge World cast is better than fine cast. Fine cast is just terrible.
Well, then I guess we'll have to wait and see. February, you say, right? That's 2 months.
Yep. Is it gonna be metal or resin? Let's see.
See if John's sources are right. But other than that, that is all the GW news that I have. The 2 weeks that we missed.
Oh, there's a new Horus Heresy FAQ. I mean, totally forgot about it. I mean, it's kind of neat. It fixes a couple things. I'm just gonna go over some quick changes. The first one is, finally I can stop bitching about the armigers. They finally fixed armigers. Armigers can now be hardened by Haywire and Melta-Bombs. So finally, after only took them a year.
Wait,
and some change.
They couldn't be hurt by Haywire or Melta-Bombs?
Correct, because Haywire and Melta-Bombs only hurts vehicles, automata, and dreadnoughts, and armigers are none of those. Their unit type is armiger, so they were immune to those. But now they're okay. The FAQ says they could be harmed by rules that affect vehicles and dreadnoughts and automata.
Interesting choice. Okay.
Yep. Another thing is Ultramarine Fulmentaris Terminators, which is an Ultramarine's unique unit. Essentially, they're Terminators with Cyclone missile launchers. They got nerfed. They used to have plasma missiles that were AP2. Now they're only breaching 4-up, and they lost the brutal rule. So huge nerf there. Now they're just they're balanced. They used to be OP. Now they're just balanced. Legion Moratats were buffed, so Moratats had a special rule called Bitter Duty. And Bitter Duty says that units with Bitter Duty can only be joined by units with Bitter Duty. So it was unclear if Moratats could join units without it, but Destroyers who had the rule could only be joined by Moratats. So it's kind of like the joining versus being joined kind of thing there. It was kind of unclear, but they clarified that Moratats can join units without Bitter Duty. So yeah, their stonks just went up because Mortats are essentially their SpaceMarine Legion captains with dual pistols, but their big thing is they carry rad grenades. So the first turn of combat, the enemy has -1 toughness, and that's a huge buff to assault squads and assault command squads for your Praetor. So the new assault squads that just came out definitely would want a Moratat with them because yeah, that really buffs their damage potential. You know, +1 strength is the equivalent, and that's super powerful. But yeah, so that's a buff there, and I believe that's the main things. Some clarifications with some other stuff, like you cannot use your shooting reaction to use an ability that could be used instead of shooting, like repairing or summoning demons, which happen in the shooting phase. You can't, react by doing that. You can only react by attacking. And that's the big stuff there. Also gave some unit additions to Imperialist Militia and Slorox, and clarified some special characters counted as specific units for certain rights of war. So, for example, if a right of war said you need a siege breaker console, some special characters were siege breakers in the lore. Now it's clarified that they count as that for rights of war, special rules, and all that. There's some other changes, like some buffs for some units, but for the most part, that's the big stuff that they addressed. Which, again, it's honestly, in the grand scheme of things, kind of insignificant compared to the amount of things we need clarified in Horus Heresy, but it's better than nothing, and, I'm happy for it.
As long as they update it, keep it alive, Any updates are always good.
Yep.
Well, I mean, not good, but it means the game's alive at least.
Yeah. Or Horus Heresy, I mean, Horus Heresy, they just keep releasing units for it. They don't revisit FAQs for old ones.
Well, good to know, because I didn't even see the FAQ. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see it now. My eyes just glazed over that article. What else? Anything in the, well, I guess not Star Wars, because nothing's coming out till the last day of February.
No, I think they moved it actually to January. So, hooray!
Look at that, Genoshan's coming early.
Yep.
Christmas miracle.
For real.
Yeah, I don't have any other news to really talk about. So I guess I'll just jump right into this. What have you been up to?
Picked up my Epic box. They're ready to paint. I just primed them, so should be an interesting time. Played a bunch of BattleTech and Shatterpoint and Legion. Haven't really played any Horus Heresy or Warhammer. Mostly the other games. But yeah, just working on my cavalry for Age of Sigmar. I mean, at this point, like, I'm trying to just get a 2,000 point army before 4.0 actually drops. But also painting some BattleTech, and I'm gonna start painting these epic models now. What about you?
No hobbying, no gaming. Well, no tabletopping. Like I said, I've been mainly just playing the video games. I've
sure.
been playing, like I said, been playing a lot of the Dark Tide, seeing what the new update's all about. It's like I said, it's kind of whatever. I mean, they added new weapons for classes. They added a new mini boss, which is a little disappointing because you don't really kill them. They kind of like come in, they beat you up, you get them down to a certain health, and they're like, you win this time, but I'll be back, and they smoke cloud out of there.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, so it's a little disappointing on that. They obviously added some new maps, and then they added these stim packs all over the place, and they all do a different thing. You got the obvious health gen, you got the combat stim, the electrify stim. There's one more stim that I can't remember, but they added those new items, and those are kind of meh. So, as big of an update as this was supposed to be, it didn't feel that monumentum, you know? It's kind of felt whatever.
Right.
In the grand scheme of things. Other than that, I finished Bolt Gun finally. I kind of just sat down and said, I'm going to finish this game. So, Warhammer Bolt Gun. Took me a while, but I finally finished that in long hours. And coming from me, that game was too easy. And I played on the hardest. I played on the hardest difficulty. It was, the last level was a pain in the ass just because, you died. You had to do the whole level over again. Which is, fine because you're only exploring one level. It's basically a boss rush with a bunch of ads everywhere. But yeah, I was so close to finishing it on one run, and then I died. I was like, God damn it.
Oof.
I'm like, well, maybe I got a checkpoint somewhere. Nope. Back to the beginning. Damn it. But yeah, so that game finally done. I'm excited. I bought Rogue Trader. So again, when this video goes up, I'll most likely be streaming that over on Twitch. Come hang out. Come enjoy the adventure. But yeah, I didn't do any hobbying, so I gotta make up for that. I still need to post the photos of my finished 500 points of Night Haunt, and I just need to get cracking on finishing my Eldari. Because my Eldari are so old, I'm gonna just remove all the sand that I put on their base and fix that up, modernize it, because I look at my poor Carandrus, and it's like you see more black base than you do sand particles on his base. That's just how old that model is now to me. So I gotta redo all my bases for my Eldari, get them ready, because 30 something days, 37 days LVO.
Yes, it is.
And I gotta get ready for that. I gotta stop procrastinating. But usually with my group that goes to LVO, we're usually painting and basing all our models on the drive over to Las Vegas. So, it's just tradition. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Other than that, I don't know how consistent we will be this month in terms of podcasts. It is the holiday season, so probably be a bit busy. If anything, it'll be just inconsistent on when I upload the podcast, if we do the podcast together. So keep those in mind, viewer. But other than that, that's all I've got. I'm ready to call it. What about you?
Yep. Sounds good to me.
All right then. Well, I thank everyone who made it to the end, and we'll see you later.
Later, everyone.